Welcome back, Ultimate Weapons. It's the Night Sky Prince again. One of the things that helped completely immerse me into the world of Final Fantasy VII was how incredibly well written Cloud Strife's character was, and all the emotions his blocky hands managed to get out of me for a game released in 1997. Playing the game, even now, Cloud Strife was usually cocky, playful, sarcastic, and maybe even a little flirty at the right times. But for many people who grew up experiencing Final Fantasy VII only through the compilation, they have a wildly different interpretation of Cloud. To them, Cloud is often seen as sad, depressed, as well as emo for lack of a better term. It almost seems like Cloud Strife can be divided up into two different characters, entirely based on which media you're exposed to first. There's compilation and expanded media Cloud, and then there's OG Final Fantasy VII Cloud, which I gotta admit, the original Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is much more likable. But with these two radically different perceptions of Cloud Strife's character, it begs the question, are there really two Cloud Strifes? Or is it all the progression, or perhaps regression, of the same character? One thing's for sure though, at one point they did split off, but the real question is, how will this affect Final Fantasy VII Remake? This is something that even Cloud Strife's character designer and director of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tetsuya Nomura, has touched upon himself recently, saying that he hopes to present the original Cloud. Quote, "While Cloud may look this way, he was a dork. I believe those of you who played the original would understand what I mean when I say he's a dorky character. That said, we'll see more of the youthful side of Cloud, rather than the always serious one that we've seen more outside of the original game. At the start of the game, Cloud is using his cocky and selfish attitude as a soldier first class. Well, maybe not a real soldier first class, but you get the point. Cloud simultaneously denies his true self, yet longs for an identity, blocking the memories of the events of the Nibelheim incident, and he suffers from a mental breakdown when he learns the truth. After restoring his true personality, Cloud shows genuine concern for the planet's fate, a sharp contrast to his persona at the start, where he claimed he did not care and only agreed to help Avalanche for the right price. The true Cloud is open-minded and cares about the bonds he's forged with his friends. For those of you who've played through Final Fantasy VII, this should come as absolutely no surprise to you. I mean, one of Cloud's final lines in the original game is, "Let's mosey," which, by the way, if they don't keep that for the remake, I will be sorely disappointed. But in order to find out where perceptions of Cloud began to change, we have to go all the way back to when work on Advent Children began, in the spring of 2003. Just after the successful release of Final Fantasy X-2, Nomura was hard at work on creating an iconic new design for Cloud. Nomura explained that while beginning work on Advent Children, he noted that Cloud was depicted as a more upbeat character at the end of Final Fantasy VII. He chose to have Cloud be a character fans would be more familiar with, and the script was written to explain why Cloud returned to a frame of mind similar to how he was at the start of the game. On explaining Cloud's situation in the film, Nomura said that Cloud tried to lead his life positively after FF7 ended, but he cracked. The sin, which Cloud thinks is his own in particular, is not anyone's fault. It is something that Cloud has to overcome by himself, unquote. Cloud, in choosing to fight Sephiroth once again, is finally given healing and forgiveness. Nomura admits that in the film, quote, "Cloud seems to be a pretty weak guy. Generally heroes are strong, cool, and don't have many weaknesses. Although Cloud is a jerk sometimes, he is really human-like. It's through the redemption from his friends and having children to protect that he becomes stronger." When the movie finally debuted in September 2005, the fully realized Cloud, being the first time the world had ever seen Cloud at such an incredible level of detail, and fully voiced, it left a strong, lingering impression of him. For people who hadn't played the game, this is what they thought the character was meant to be like, and for the people who had played the game, it recontextualized many of their memories of Cloud Strife. Advent Children attempted to pull off character regression as a form of character development. The positive Cloud that we saw at the end of Final Fantasy VII had become broken again. The character that we saw in the movie was a saddened, emotionally broken character. Cloud spent half of the movie uttering lines about how he wants to be forgiven for his sins, and how he can't move on from the grief of the deaths of Zack and Aerith. And to be honest with you guys, in the time frame that this movie came out, that sort of mopey, I'm so deep protagonist was a popular thing. But the character arc in the original 7, which showed a very human character who had a rough exterior and had that exterior broken, then managed to put himself back together again, was a much more compelling and deeply relatable story. Using regression to further develop a character isn't bad by any means. In fact, as human beings, we experience character regression ourselves due to certain events. You may have built up your confidence over the course of years, only to have someone someone make the exact right insult and push you straight back into your insecurities. You might try to quit smoking, and then after many months, you see someone else doing it, and you fall right back into the trap. Character regression is real, but we aren't necessarily led to believe that by the end of it, that Cloud was better off than where he was at the end of Final Fantasy VII. And then we have Kingdom Hearts, which really only served to further cement the perceptions of a very distant Cloud, depicting him in the exact same fashion as Advent children. So who is the real Cloud Strife? He's an incredible character who's very relatable and managed to turn his life around, even when it's a complete mess. He's a strong character, and in the words of his character designer and now director of the remake, Tatsuya Nomura, he's a dork, and even though he tries to act cool, we all know he's not. But as I stated earlier, Nomura is aware of these perceptual changes to Cloud due to the compilation. I'm happy that he wants to portray the original Cloud and restore a sense of meaning to his character in the Final Fantasy VII remake. So my Ultima Weapons, let me ask you something. What does Cloud's character mean to you? Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you think this character means to you throughout all your years. Has Cloud's story influenced you or your life in any way? And what ways has it? And if you're really a Final Fantasy VII fanboy, be sure to check out our Facebook group, Ultima, Square Enix plus JRPGs, where we pretty much worship this game like all the time. Link in the description below.